you need to just check for the right answer. Of course, if you did not do this page, as I can see a blank one in front of me right there, I can see from here, most ones I can see are not blank. Yes, Aaron? Huh? I have it written right here in my instructions to her to do page 73. And I see written right here P73. Well, the screen wasn't down on Friday. So, again, since I wasn't here Friday, and it says assignment, obviously apparently the instructions were very confusing, except that even your own classmates have turned against you. This was supposed to be done, indeed. And, of course, it was the last thing in the section on factoring. So even if I didn't give it as an instruction, since you were in class for an hour and the quiz only took 15 minutes, I don't know what you would have done for the other 45. I don't know why you wouldn't have thought to do the next page in your book. But, I spend a lot of time with teenagers telling me that they're ready to be independent. And then things like this happen and I realize, I was right and they were wrong. So anyway, there are those 6. Just write down the right answer. You can come back to them later. And here are the next. Can I get all 9 on there? I can. There are all the right answers to the next 9. Again, just write down the right answers because, I'll give you some time to work in a minute. Well, we're going to do a bunch of crazy factoring now. Well, not crazy factoring. We're just going to practice some of the things that people are pretty bad at. Everybody got them written down? Sweet. Okay. So now on page 74, your first blank, based on what went on in the marking of that quiz, which, by the way, I will be getting your marks from you today, I see that there are some issues with a couple of things. One of them is something like this. Start working on that, please. You can work with people. You don't need to work by yourself. But start working on that for a moment, please. Yes. Sure. No, that's what I want you to factor. Just factor it. Is everybody done? Now, you may have heard Gervier muttering at the front that shouldn't it have been plus 84, I believe he said. Right? And the reason he said that was because he was doing what plus 40, 240, right? The reason he did that is because he was doing what I want you to avoid, okay? And I'm going to show you what I mean in a moment, all right? There's a reason this is written this way. So, what would be your first step with this? And I would like it to be somebody who doesn't usually talk. Keegan? You would divide by 6. Why? Because that's the greatest common factor, yes? So you would divide by 6, right? And you would get 6a squared minus 14a minus 40, correct? Right? And then all of you would look at that because I just gave you a quiz on this and a bunch of you forgot to do this step, right? Forgot to go further if you could. And you would look at that and you would say, what multiplies to negative 40 and adds to negative 14? And the automatic thing to say is 10 and 4, right? Which is what Gervier was saying. Shouldn't this have been plus 40? Because 10 and 4 would work if this was plus 40, wouldn't it? It would be negative 10 and negative 4. But I did this on purpose so you would not... No, wait. So I could try and trap you into forcing this to do what you want it to do. Can you? No. So is this one done? Yes. Now, what would it be? Now that I've made that plus, now what would you do? 6a minus 10, a minus 4. Right? Everybody with me? You can't force it to do something you don't want it to do. All right? Here's another one that always messes kids up. X squared minus 13x minus 30. A lot of kids factor this wrong. Why? What do they want to go with? 10 and 3. Does that work? No, why not? Because it's negative 30. So what does it have to be? Factor it. Go. I still have to multiply. This one actually works. Sorry, multiplies to negative 30 and adds to negative 13. This one does work. But it's not 10 and 3, even though everybody wants it to be 10 and 3. What is it really? 15 and 2. Yeah? Right? Remember, we can't force these. Right? What about this one? What are you going to do with that? I should have done it in a different color. I'm sorry. Talk with your neighbor if you need to. You've got two options there. One will get you there with a ton of work. The other one will get you there with almost no work, but you have to understand math. So take a moment and attack that one. What are my two options? What do you want to do? I would change this into something else. A squared minus 4. A plus 2. A minus 2. Is there an A in the original question? Only because I made that A, right? So what do I write here? X plus 3 plus 2. X plus 3 minus 2. X plus 3 plus 2 is x plus 5. X plus 3 minus 2 is x plus 1. If you don't understand what we are doing there, then your only option is to expand this, collect your like terms, and factor the resulting trinomial. It's a lot more work than this. But it is up to you. Does everybody understand? All right. What if I gave you this? What are you going to do with that? 3 choices. I know you know how to do it, Gervier. And I'm not trying to put you down. But there are 29 other people in the class. If you don't wish to say it out loud, simply work on it for a moment. We all know there are 3 or 4 people that will say what I want to hear in a minute and save you all. But the rest of you should not be sitting there with your pencils still, waiting for them to say what to do. You should have done it already. You know, hit me.
So you multiply the 7 by 3.
Right.
So you have to multiply to 21, and then you have to add to 10.
So what is it?
It's x plus 3 and x plus 7.
So x plus 3 and x plus 7. If you're doing slide and divide. Because it's not really 3 and 7, is it? The only reason we know it's 3 and 7 is because we did this times 3, yes? So what must I remember to do now? Add 3? I've already multiplied by 3. I need to get rid of that multiply by 3. I need to divide by 3. What do I do with every fraction? If I can. I simplify every fraction I can see. That becomes x plus 1. That one doesn't simplify, so the denominator slides to the front. 3x plus 7. Right? Now, some kid always says, Mr. Myers, I don't get why the denominator slides to the front. It's pissing me off. And I say, kid, what bothers you about this? This binomial right here. And every kid always says fractions. Fractions, I hate them. Well, the only part of the fraction that really bothers you is the 3, right? Because all these numbers I've written, 6, 30, 13, 15, they're all fractions. They're all over 1, right? So it's not fractions that bothers you. It's fractions that aren't over 1 that bothers you. So this 3 bothers you, yes? What math is that 3 performing right now? Division. How do you get rid of division in math class? You multiply. So if I multiply this side by 3, 3 is going to go there, which cancels, and 3 is going to go there, which gives me my 3x plus 7. That is why it works. If you cannot remember to slide that to the front, then just remember, you're going to get rid of it doing algebra, which you should also already know. Abby.
How do you know you need to multiply the 7 by 3?
Because if there's no number there, we need to be able to multiply to 30, right? But if there's a number there, what number was there in red that isn't written? 1. Well, the blue number is 4 times bigger, yes? So all of our math must be 4 times bigger. Okay?
So it's by the first number?
Yes. Now, there's another mathematical reason for this, which I could explain, and I will right now. This 3 is what bothers us, yes? So if I want to get rid of that times by 3, I could divide by 3 and get x squared plus 10 cubed x plus 7 cubed, or 10 over 3 and 7 over 3, right? Now, doesn't this look just like this? And if I were good with fractions, I could do the numbers that multiply to 7/3 and add to 10/3. And I could do this exactly like this. But I can tell by the widening of your eyes, you are too scared to attempt numbers to find factors of 7/3 that will add to 10/3, aren't you? Of course you are. So that's why we just multiply everything by 3. Everybody cool? Now then, the next question some kid always has is, why don't we change the 10? Well, if I divided everything by 3, I'd still be seeking 10, wouldn't I? Because these have the same denominator. So I can still seek 10. Because if I multiply this by 3 to get rid of the 3 that I don't like, I'm seeking 10. Does everybody understand? Okay. And of course, guessy checky works all the time. I just personally don't like it. Okay? Okay. What if I gave you this one? Could you expand or die? Of course you could. You would have to expand that, then collect all your like terms, then factor what you had left over. Or you could do this. A squared plus 7a plus 12. And that you can factor in your sleep. Why? Because I got to multiply to what? And add to what? What is it? A plus 3, A plus 4. What's A? X plus 2 plus 3, which is what? What's A? X plus 2 plus 4, which is? And you're done. Kids fight me on this. Like they actually get angry. Like, no, I don't know. No. I want to expand. Okay, kid, go ahead. Are any of you wanting to fight me on it? You're welcome to. If you would rather do this, x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus 7x plus 14 plus 12, then collect all those like terms and then factor that, you go ahead. I will never stop you. Okay? Everybody with me? All right. Three. No. Yes. 3 m plus 2 squared plus 7 m plus 2 plus no, that yeah, there. What will you do with that one?
Is it a 4 or a 9?
That's a 4, dude. 9s are plainly that.
I feel lazy, Lawson doesn't have 4. It's fine, I understand you.
No, I insist.
Thank you.
No problem.
The fancy way.
That's what I'm here for. Can you expand? Does it make sense to expand?
No.
I think not. Because what is that and that? They're the same. So can I assign them a single letter? What letter could I assign them? Doesn't matter. 3j squared plus 7j plus 4. Now I need to multiply to what? 12 and add to what?
7.
What is it?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. So I'm going to do the other method I use sometimes. 3j plus 3 and 3j plus 4. Any common factor there? What is it? 3. So that becomes j plus 1. Any common factor there?
No.
So it stays the same. 3j plus 4. Is j an actual factor? No. So what do I write here now instead of j? M plus 2 plus 1, which is what? And what do I write here instead of j? M plus 2. What do I write here instead of j? M plus 2 plus 4. 3m plus 6 plus 4. 3m plus 10. And I'm done. Now, I will not lie to you. It is a little bit harder to check this as a right answer. You have to have quite a bit of confidence in yourself to use this method, yes? Because this doesn't come back to this unless you expand this. Does everybody understand? You got to have some backbone to believe in yourself here. Nina.
So did you get the plus 10 by, is it like the, it'd be like 3
What's
times
3 times 2?
Yeah.
6. What's 6 plus 4? 10. Now, of course, you could have written 3m plus 6 plus 4. And then, do you really need that confidence? Like, really? This is adding and distribution. Do you need that confidence? Maybe you do. I don't know. Everybody good? Yeah? Okay. We got one more blank page, don't we? Yes. Let's do a couple more of these tricky McTrickleton ones. X plus 7 squared minus x minus 9 squared.
Attention, all Block C French students, could you please go to your French teacher's classroom for the School District 34 French Cultural Activity?
Does that apply to any of you? Les élèves dans la classe française dans le bloc C. No. No. That is my bad French accent. Mon accent français est pauvre.
That sounds like an insult.
It was. I said my French accent is poor. Because it is. Because I don't speak French.
Just like how you're like looking at me, you're like lunging at me.
No,
You're like
I was insulting myself.
He scared me.
Well, that's your hang-up, Nino, not mine. I am not a scary dude. Even if I was a scary dude, what could I actually do to you? This is public school. It isn't 1952. I can't get out a ruler.
All I'm saying is you could hit me. It would just entail losing your job.
Okay. Back to math. That's really hard. Right? Like, that's a difficult question if you don't know what's going on. But you do know what's going on, don't you? Because what do you see there? He waited patiently for Gervir to tell him the answer. Oh, what?
Now, I don't know. I think I'm seeing like an a squared minus b squared.
Damn right you're seeing an a squared minus a b squared. Stop it! Which means, of course, that's a difference of squares, yes? And a difference of squares, you take the square root of the first one, you add the square root of the second one. And then you take the square root of the first one, and you subtract the square root of the second one, yes? If it was a squared minus b squared, what is the square root of a squared? A, right? So what is the square root of x plus 7 squared? X plus 7. Plus, then you would do the square root of b, wouldn't you? What is the square root of that one?
X minus 9.
So then you would do x minus 9. And that would be the first half of it, wouldn't it? Then you would do the exact same thing. You would do x minus 7 minus x minus 9. What is x plus x? It's a tricky one. 2x. What is 7 plus negative 9?
Negative 2.
Plus negative 2. Would we write plus negative 2? What would we write?
Raise the plus. Negative 2.
Minus 2. And over here, what is x minus x?
Nothing.
Why is it 2x and not x squared?
Because you're adding x plus x.
Isn't x squared?
Minus x is x squared.
Abby, I know it's Monday morning, but if I have one water bottle and I have a second water bottle and I add them, I have 2 water bottles.
Yeah, but x squared tells you that there's 2 x's as well.
No, it's x times x.
No, squared means times. If I have 3 squared, that's 3 times 3.
You're gonna lost sleep.
You did. You lost an hour of sleep on Sunday morning. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. 3 plus 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. How many is that? See how they're different? So if I had x squared, I would have x times x. But if I had x plus x, I would have 2 x's. Okay. Okay. And what is x? Wait, Abby, what's x minus x?
2x minus 2x. Can you rephrase the question?
Okay. What is some number minus that same number? Right. So these x's disappear. And then, what is negative 7 minus negative 9?
Positive 2.
It is 2. Really? Gets you every time. That adding and subtracting.
So difficult.
Now, almost every one of you would stop here. That's why I said almost. Some of you will have noticed something about that. What?
X has a number.
It's got a common factor, doesn't it? So you would bring out another 2. 2 x minus 1 times 2. Right? And then you want it as simple as possible. What's 2 times 2? And that is the answer to that. Crazy, hey?
That's actually big money.
But perfectly reasonable. Right? Okay. I'm going to really mess you up now.
That's not fair.
Go. The green one. I don't care what method you use. Knock yourself out. Go. And before anybody asks, yes, I could put that green one on your test if I wanted to. Know why? Because it's a factoring question. And this unit is on what? Factoring. And because you all know, I believe you should practice at least as hard as you play the game. I might be in a bit of a grumpy mood today. I do not get to eat. Because for that blood test I was talking about earlier, I can't have had food for the previous 12 hours. And I couldn't get an appointment before 3:30 for the blood test. So I haven't had any food or water or anything since 9:30 p.m. last night.
You couldn't eat that 3:30?
I could have woken up at 3:30 and eaten, but I do not TikTok at 3:30 in the morning like you all do. I go to bed at a nice normal time and sleep until it is time to get up. I do not lie in bed making sure that I'm getting the right likes on my Insta for going to bed now. Happy face emoji, hands pray emoji for sleep, and then wake up at 2:30 in the morning. Oh my God, did my friends like that I went to sleep? Oh, they did. Oh.
We don't really use Twitter that much.
I don't. You use something. You all use something. And you all have your phone in your room. Right, ready to check to make sure if you've gotten enough likes for going to sleep. The last bastion of people that know they are wrong. Technicalities. That's a badass question. Unless, of course, you recognize you have already done this question 3 times on these 2 pages already. Haven't you? Because isn't that just m squared plus 7m plus 12? Isn't it? Change the letter. M squared plus 7m plus 12. Okay. What's easier to factor? What I've written there in green or what I've written there in black? I wouldn't. Because that x you're going to have to deal with later on. The M is just a letter I chose. You can make it anything you want to take the place of this whole thing. Because as you can see, that we do have to deal with the X later.
Isn't that dealing with it right there?
No. Okay, Paige. Let's make it X. Now I have X squared plus 7X plus 12, right? Factor that. Multiply to what? Add to what? What is it? Okay. Now, here's what the problem is. Is there an X in the original question? Yeah, right here. So what do I write here? So you think we're done now? That's why you don't use X. Because if I made this, for example, M, then this would be M, wouldn't it? M. And this would be M, wouldn't it? And then my answer would be M plus 3 and M plus 4, right? Is there any M in the original question? No. I made this M. So what would I write here instead of M? X squared minus 16, right?
Oh, in just that.
Yes. So this would be X squared minus 16 plus 3. And this would be X squared minus 16 plus 4. Now, the reason I chose X squared minus 16 is because a great many of you recognize that that becomes X plus 4, X minus 4, right? Except it doesn't really in this case, because what happens here? What is negative 16 plus 3? X squared minus 13. And what is this really?
X squared minus 12.
Do either of them factor? No. So why did I choose this? Because I wanted to see if I would fool anybody into doing this right away, because they are learning steps instead of what is actually going on. Did I fool anyone? Did anybody do this at any point? Stop it. Really? None of you? It's okay, Paige. I did it to fool you. I did it on purpose.
I'm kidding, I didn't do it at all.
Now, some kids right here might say, okay, well, that's X plus 3, 4. X minus 4 plus 3. And then this is X plus 4, X minus 4, plus 4. They might say it's that. I mean, that's okay. But it's not. Because you can factor it to this. Everybody good? Yeah? Yeah. I don't think you're good. I think you're all liars.
I actually got it right for the most part. But I actually made the mistake of, for some reason, I thought plus was still there, and I added the minus 12, and I did a whole oopsie. But, but step for that, I got the...
You had a plus there still?
Yeah, and then I...
So your answer was 2x squared minus 25?
Yeah. And then
Which then, of course, would have been done. Right? Because even though that's 25, that doesn't have a square root. But that's okay.
Yeah, but then I saw that, and I was like, oh, no. I mostly got it.
Good. Mostly got it is better than not get it at all. Which, of course, is the next lesson that I am about to explain to you. On your factoring test that you will be writing at some point this week, before spring break, 100%. What?
When is that? It's spring break.
After this week.
Like at the end of the week? Like after Friday?
Friday is the last day of classes before spring break. Kind of like what I just said. Okay. As long as we're on the same wavelength. All right. Yes, this is a great week. Time change, full moon, a Friday the 13th, and the coronavirus. And yet, none of them scare me. Anyways, as I was saying, on that factoring and polynomial test that you were going to write sometime this week before the end of classes, before spring break, there may be a question that you cannot finish because you're just not up to finishing it, mathematically speaking. Should you erase all of your work? No. Will there be a question on the test that you cannot do?
No.
I will put a question on a test that you can't do. Of course not. So should there be any blanks on this test? No, because you know how to do every single question on it. Okay? So don't leave anything blank. Now, some of you may be saying to yourself, we're about to take a 2-week break. What if that break happens in the middle of a unit? It might very well happen in the middle of a unit. I don't want it to, but it might. In which case, yes, when you get back after 2 weeks, I will expect you to know what we were doing on Friday the 13th. Okay? Okay. We are done with factoring. We are done with polynomials. Now listen to me. The skills used here will come back and be used again, multiplication-wise. Factoring, we're pretty much done with until grade 11. But in grade 11, you will factor constantly. How often? Constantly. Almost every single question that you do in pre-calculus 11 will require factoring this unit. Do I make myself clear? If you choose to take foundations of Math 11 in 2 of the units, you will have to factor a whole bunch. It is your choice. If you go further in math than pre-calculus 11, you will factor constantly. Every unit, all the time. Okay? Many of you have already done your course selections for next year. I hope you have chosen wisely. Aight? Let us move on. Cabbages. Have a stretch. Talk to your neighbor. Turn to page 75, maybe 79. I don't know. The page that says functions and relations. 77, it turns out. I don't know. Oh, yes, it's a Monday. Of course you can. Silly me. Today is my wife's birthday, everyone.
Happy birthday to your boyfriend.
We both forgot this morning when we woke up, because she's only 43. That's like a dumb number. When you get to be our age, birthdays aren't important, not like they are for you people. We only do like the 5s and the 10s. And pretty soon we'll stop doing the 5s and the 10s. Then ironically, when we're in our 80s, we'll start celebrating every birthday again, because every birthday is a surprise, right? Because once you're past 78, every birthday is a surprise. Because 78 is, of course, the life expectancy in Canada. So once you pass that, you're on borrowed time.
That's depressing.
I disagree. If you take care of yourself,
90's pretty possible.
then there's plenty of people that are older than that too. Just like saving money. You can save your health by taking care of yourself now, by putting down your phones and going outside.
You know what kind of freaks me out?
What?
I don't want to get like super old because then you're kind of like I could literally just like fall asleep and not wake up.
I think that would be awesome.
I want.
What better way to go? I don't sleep very well right now.
I want to be awake when I'm dying. I want to know I'm dying.
Why? That's crazy talk.
Because I like. I want to suffer. I feel like it's scary not knowing you're going to die. I want to know I'm dying.
So, if you were in like some science fiction-y show where they set up your time, like they checked your DNA and they knew, you'd want to know? You'd want to know that on May 17th, 2029 was your day of death?
Yeah.
You would want to know that.
Do you know how much I'd live my life if I knew I was going to die at next
Why should that matter? Live your life. Don't be dumb. Oh, I'm going to wait and do that later. Why? You could get hit by a car crossing the street.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, realistically, it's just, well, it's more like I'd rather like instead of my heart just kind of stopping when I'm asleep, I'd rather like bleed out and like know I'm bleeding.
To each their own, Nino. To each their own.
I don't know.
To each their own.
But I also want to know I'm dying.
I feel that though. Like I understand.
It's kind of like
Mr. Myers, are we starting this
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah. What? We only have 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes.